Negan.
I am Negan.
What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of I Am Negan, a TWD Universe podcast. I'm your host, Adam Vale. Tonight I'm joined by Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, listeners and viewers?
and Carlos Romero. What's up, man?
Yo, what's going on?
All right, man, this is it. Before we go into it, thanks again for everybody who subscribes, who tunes in on Spotify, iTunes, on YouTube, and just showing love for Walking Dead. Not even just the show, whatever. That some people, a lot of people, we can see the numbers. A lot of people listen, not making comments stuff, and that's cool. You know, you don't have to comment. You can keep yourself, your views to yourself if you don't want to make it public. But occasionally, somebody hit me up on Twitter. I'm like, oh, I got some issues. I'm so, you know what? Other people have the same issues, so might as well put it in the comment section, especially on YouTube. So if you have anything to say, because it appears people do have things to say, then just post it. And real quick, before we go into this review discussion over season 10 episode 20 Splinter, one of the main concerns and issues that I've heard from people is that this feels like those webisodes that they used to do for Fear the Walking Dead and stuff on the websites. That it doesn't really feel like Walking Dead proper episodes. And I get it. It really doesn't. They're really focusing on individual characters and telling little side stories. Which is exactly what those webisodes were. They were just little side stories. So I get it. And even when they did advertise this, they said this is going to be more backstory stuff. We're just trying to fill in the gaps when it comes to just storytelling overall, because there was only so much they can do because of COVID. And we got to appreciate it for what it is. And hey, it's Walking Dead content, because if they said, hey, you could either get this or nothing at all and just wait until we bring everything back full time, I'll take this. I'll take this, because it's not just filler. Last episode was really entertaining, especially with the surprise twist. This one was entertaining in its own way. So, before I jump into it, you guys have anything you want to say about the general thoughts and the ideas of what's going on with these 6 episodes?
Well, yeah, I agree with the people that said that it does feel like the webisodes. But obviously, they had to make certain changes based on the current economic situations. It's like it does help to get more story, more backstory on other characters, or to see characters who you've never seen interact before in their own episode, like last week's episode, which was actually a really good episode. Mm-hmm. So, they had to get creative with how they created the show, so I don't have a problem with that. But and again, people have to remember the real Walking Dead is coming back this summer, so we're going to see season 11 starting in the next couple of months. So don't worry, things will get back to normal, some kind of normal soon.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it definitely kind of seems that way, where it's like the bigger story of The Walking Dead is still ahead of us, and this is just a sort of placeholder of certain stories to flesh out some characters, because everyone's got to work, but not everyone can work together, so they have to do these separate
small groups,
things where small groups. Princess was only seen with 2 people, 3 people in the whole show. So it's been progressing like that this whole season. The Daryl and Carol kind of show, and then was it Aaron?
It was
Aaron and
Gabriel.
And
Father Gabriel. Yeah.
And they're all doing their own little side quests, and they're just progressing through their little adventures, and I guess they're all going to come to head at some point, and I'm guessing that's going to be the latter half of this season finale.
All right. Yeah. In fact, let's jump into it, because I was surprised. I was really surprised, because we did see a tease of this group with Yumiko. That's her name, right? Yumiko.
Yeah, Yumiko
and Ezekiel and Princess and Eugene. We saw a little tease within last episode, the opening of last episode, but they never mentioned it. They never went back to it. But here it is. This episode started the same way, and it actually went into it because this group, this part of the story is very much the key overlap, the key overall storyline for The Walking Dead with the whole Commonwealth, and this is it. This is going to lead into the final season, and this is the end game. This story, this road right here. So I was really surprised because, as I mentioned in the last episode, I didn't think we were going to see this group at all. I was like, no, not in these 6 episodes. I didn't see it happening, but they did. They did it in their own little way for a reason, as we're going to get into now. So if you recall from what we saw with that mid-season break, with the 4 that I had just mentioned, they were captured by the Commonwealth, which, Rich, you mentioned that they look like stormtroopers. You're like, oh, I didn't know Kirkman was a Star Wars fan. You know, yeah, and I get it. I mean, it looks like they're wearing. A lot of it reminded me of Master Chief. It's the whole motocross look. You know, you got the chest piece and the mask and the headdress and all that stuff. So I'm like, I get it. But yeah, the coloring and stuff, it has that vibe. So it starts off, it continues off from that point, if you recall, where they get captured, they're surrounded, they're at the meeting point for where Eugene and the woman that he was talking to, she had said, hey, meet me at the train yard, this is where they were going to be at. And so, boom, we see from the perspective of Princess. She's on the ground, she's muffled, she can't really tell what's going on because they slammed her. Yumiko looks like she's getting roughed up. Why are they roughing her up that way? I don't understand. Because if anybody, you would think it would be Ezekiel. You know, you would be like, oh, look at Ezekiel, big guy with dreads and stuff. But then again, he had some health issues, so I don't think he would have really fought back. But we didn't see too much of it. We definitely just saw the Commonwealth soldiers just being very aggressive. All right, cuts off real quick. It gets back into it, and we see that Princess is in one of the cargo. What's the wording for it? Because it's a train, but they're like the cargo
train carts.
Yeah, I guess they're like train carts, right? Because it's like a cargo train cart. The ones that you would normally see back in the day with like the hobos, you know, singing songs as it's going around, you know, through the window. Every time I see an empty one like that, I think of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. When he's sitting on the edge of it and he's singing
the movie, right?
Coming around about, and he just gets fed up with the hobo and he jumps. So it's like that. So she's in one of those and she's by herself. And she's banging around inside. She's screaming, trying to figure out what's going on. And Yumiko is in the car right next to her. I guess, or you could say in front of her in the next car. And she's trying to peel off the wood, try to get in. And that's where she gets the Splinter. And that's the title for her. I don't know if you guys noticed. I didn't see Yumiko. I heard her voice. Did you see her? Like
I don't remember seeing her.
No, right?
They showed her briefly when she got knocked to the ground earlier in the episode. That was it.
Yeah. And the reason why I bring that up, because in my mind, later on in the episode, I'll bring it up when we get to it. But then hopefully, people, if you're listening, you watch the episode. Because it's all spoilers. This is also, we watched it, we're going to get into it, so this isn't just like a rundown. We're going to spoil a lot of stuff. And I'm going to bring up why I am asking if you guys noticed that. So anyway, she gets the Splinter, and she's trying to calm down Yumiko. Calm down, things are going to get okay, everything's going to get better. And I guess one of her methods of trying to calm down is that she starts just naming all the capitals of the states. And she starts going through that whole process, and that triggered World Beyond, because wasn't that similar to what the little boy was doing? Was it Elton? Wasn't that Elton doing the same type of thing when he would try to calm himself down?
You're 100% right, and I'm surprised you remember that, because World Beyond, absolutely disappointing.
Well, that's why, because I just remember that weird panic scene, and that was somewhere here. Like, she was panicking. She's in this room. She didn't say too much that she was getting claustrophobic, because she said she was telling Yumiko that she's been in this situation, and this is where she spews her backstory, talking about how she had this infection in her hand, and then she had her stepfather who really didn't give a shit about her, and the mom never defended her, and she had a lot of problems at home because of that, and but she found a way out of it, and she's going to find a way out of this. So, right, real quick, because not a lot happened in all of this, but she does get out. She finds a way out, and she gets across to another train car, and that's where we sort of see him, Eugene, And he's there, and she's talking. She's like, "All right, I'm gonna get us out. I don't know what's going on with Yumiko. I think she's hurt." She hears them as if they're gonna take care of her. But again, that's why I asked if you guys seen her, because I didn't see her. So I'm wondering, and I'll get to it afterwards. What's going on with that? But she starts talking to Eugene. And Eugene says, "Hey, to stay the course. This is all the plan. We're not going to be hostile." Oh, well, look what they're doing with this. Yeah, but they could have hurt us. They could have done something beyond this, and they didn't. They put them in these holdings. They're going to interrogate. And so she was like, "Well, I guess so." Go, Carlos.
And isn't it like really convenient that there is a little plank of wood covering a hole, where someone could escape, covered by one nail?
Yeah. That was kind of odd, but like you said, isn't that convenient? Because who knows? Maybe that's a design in these type of cars. I don't know. It just definitely looked out of place. I was expecting
my thinking is they were testing her. I think they were testing her the whole time. It's like, are they going to escape? Like, well, what are they going to do when they see these kinds of things? And then I guess another test, and we'll get to that event later on the show. It's like, what would this person do if they turned the tables on one of them? Yeah. And we actually saw what would come to fruition. But yeah, I think maybe this is a little bit too tinfoily hat kind of thing. But I think that little door, that little opening. I think it was a test.
Yeah, it could have been a test. Yeah. So Eugene tells her, "Hey, just go back into your little holding. We'll deal with this. Things will be okay. This is the process. At least he thinks this is going to be the process. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to show that we're good people." So she's like, "All right, fine." So she goes back. Soldier comes in, says, "All right, come with me." And then that's when we see the strip down, right? They do the whole strip down. I was surprised by that. Because I was like, well, she says it too. She's like, "You're checking for bites," and this whole thing. Like, well, there's other ways to do it besides that, but you would think they were gonna. I don't know. In my mind, I was like, well, if you're gonna do a strip down, you're gonna hose her down too. You're gonna to see if there's any dirt covering any bites or stuff. They didn't do that. They just take your clothes off, turn around. Let me see what's going on. I don't know. It could have gone really dark real quick, but they didn't do that in this. So she gets taken into a interrogation room. You sort of see a silhouette of the main guy who's interrogating. Asks basic questions. What's your name? Who are your friends? What are they doing? You see her leg twitching at the bottom. She's getting very agitated. And she's like, "No, I'm not answering anything." She starts swinging around. He calls her the B word. And then he hits her across the jaw. And it throws her back into the holding. She gets thrown back in the holding. She's still talking to the other side for Yumiko, who she thinks is on the other end, and hopefully she's okay, and she's telling her all that stuff about what happened. But again, I'll just say right now, I don't think Yumiko was there. I think that was all in her mind. I don't think that was there. Just because right at this point, while she's trying to figure all this stuff out, we hear some rumbling above her. Hatch opens. Ezekiel jumps down. Did you guys think that was Ezekiel?
Yeah. At first,
Carlos?
No, I never did. I've never seen him move that spryly before. It's like, yo, you got a pep in your step or something. I've never seen this.
That was what I was getting at, because at first what I was thinking, and I'm not going to jump because people watch the episode here, like, there's no way you knew. No, you're right. I did not know. But what I'm thinking is that after they hit her, that maybe she passed out, and this is just her in her mind thinking. Like she's passed out at this point. This is just her dreaming that this is happening, and that the hatch opens up above, and Ezekiel's there, and he's healthy, and he's like, "Hey, don't worry, we're gonna get out of this." And have you heard from the people and doing this? I was like, the last time, if you recall, he's dealing with cancer. He's got some health issues. He's not feeling so great. And like you said, Carlos, he wasn't moving this quickly. So
he didn't cough the whole time.
No, he didn't cough. So yeah, he jumps down. He starts talking about the plans. Have you seen the people? He's like, well, Yumiko, I hope they're treating her. And I saw Eugene, and all right, we're gonna figure something out. We're gonna get out of this. And next, the door opens up. One of the troopers, he comes in, and the first thing that Ezekiel does, he just bangs him. He hits him, and then he takes the weapon, and it gets kind of crazy. He starts banging on him, right? It's a fight. It's a brawl, and to the point that Princess is like, what's going on? And you're seeing all this blood. And he told her, he said, I'm always going to protect you. No one's going to hurt you. Because that was one thing that he noticed with the jaw, because she said that her jaw hurt and it was just like a recurring injury. And that was agitated from when the guy hit her, and that links back to her stepfather. And he says, don't worry, as long as I'm around, no one's going to hurt you. So he starts beating on this guy, and there's blood everywhere, and she's trying to say, calm down, you're going to kill him, you're going to kill him. And it was some weird cuts. They were jumping back and forth, and I guess that's how they were trying to explain what's going on. And then next, it goes back, and Ezekiel's gone, and it's just her and this guy, and then it's like, boom. So there you go. It was in her head. And that's why I'm thinking maybe Yumiko was never there in the other room.
Yeah.
That maybe she, because we didn't
see Eugene.
Yeah, or did we? That's right.
So,
I don't remember seeing.
So,
well, she escaped.
Yeah. So, are you? I think you mentioned this, but I'm not too sure if this is how you meant it. But so Adam? Are you thinking that she lost sort of her mind before, like the whole strip down scene with being checked for bite marks and all? You think that was all a figment of her imagination?
No, I think that's all part of it. I think it was after she got hit. Once she got hit. That she just blacked out, and everything else just happened in her mind from the blackout.
Well, yeah, because she woke back up and she was back in the car after she got hit.
She was back in the car, and then this is when the whole thing happened with. Oh man, I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking out. Once Ezekiel jumped down, then wasn't there a point where she left, because eventually she leaves again, tries to go under the fence to leave. And then she
leaves. Yeah. She leaves after realizing that she was the one that was beating on. She was that one actually beating on the guy. She takes his weapon, and then she tries to leave. And remember, the weapon gets stuck on the bottom of that fence door.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
So she. I don't know. Ezekiel comes out and she's telling her, is like, oh, good.
Well, that was when we at this point we already knew that Ezekiel's not real. We don't know where he is. And the fact that she does try to escape out, go underneath the fence, she could leave, but then she's like, my friends. I gotta be there for my friends. And that was another little part. Once Ezekiel had jumped down, and they were having, like, she was basically arguing with herself. And he was saying, well, these are my friends. And she's like, oh, great, you're going to do that whole thing with the friends thing. It's like, because she just met these people, But it's kind of funny that she was having this internal argument with herself. And then she tells the stormtrooper guy after I guess was he knocked out? I don't think he was fully knocked out, but he was like, which one are you talking now? Are you talking to me or are you talking to yourself? And she was like, no, this is me. But she was like, I've been alone for a while, and I've have all kinds of other issues. So yeah, I'm dealing with things right now. And this is how she handles it. So she's a little loopy, but she says she's not crazy, but she's a little loopy. And we got that from before. But yeah, so go, Rich.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. And then I definitely didn't want to cut you off, but I just want to say I was confused with this whole thing with the fence. And you see Ezekiel, now that you guys are saying that she's arguing with herself, I totally understand that, but I would like to ask, why didn't they just have another version of Princess as this other, instead of Ezekiel? Because it's a little confusing when I see this other person. And I thought, if I recall, they were having a discussion about family. So that is where I thought, this is obviously a case where, obviously, because of the limited people that they have on set, they didn't bring in someone else to play another character. Because that could have been like a brother.
No, I know what you mean. It's like, why Ezekiel? Like, I didn't know that they had that type of connection. It just could be something that just manifested in her head, and that's what it just picked. It's just like Ezekiel.
I think that's what makes the most logical sense in that situation, to keep her thinking that she's living in reality at that point, because Yumiko is gone. We don't know where she is because she's got taken and she was like really hurt, concussed and stuff. Eugene, they just took him. She doesn't know where the hell Ezekiel is. So that's like the only one that's left that she knows in her subconscious that is part of that, little group. So I think that was, what just came to her head. It's like, oh, where's Ezekiel been? Maybe she's been thinking the whole time, and that's how he manifested in her, in her, I don't know, how do you call it, delusion?
Yeah, it was like a weird thing. And this is why I feel like this episode was so short. It said it was 40 minutes, but it felt a lot shorter because here it is. We're already at the final scene. And she's talking to the trooper guy, and he's explaining, hey, listen, I'm sorry, it's kind of intense, the whole thing, but this was the process. I'm new here. And he's going through the whole shebang about this stuff. At this point, she already had handcuffed him with his own handcuffs, and she had the gun, and he's just trying to explain things to her. And then now that she's there and she's not going to leave her friends, she was like, well, he's over here saying that they're good people. It's just a misunderstanding. It's just a process. And so she was like, you know what? Maybe it is me. So then she says her name. It really is Princess. She says the name of the other people. She admits, I just met them just a few weeks ago, and we're on this trail, and it's either hang out with them or be alone type of situation. So she went along with them on this journey. And that's it. She really doesn't know what's going on. So, she frees him from the handcuffs. He doesn't attack her. I was waiting for that moment. I was like, all right, now this is where he's going to try it. Because he sort of tried it before when he was like, oh, the gun's not even loaded, And this is, again, in her delusion because it was Ezekiel that was holding it. But anyway, he basically says, all right, can I get the gun back? And he's putting all his gear back on. And so he says, when we go out there, and then I just have to have my gun back, and then I'll bring you. He's like, well, can I see my friends? He's like, it's not up to me. I'm just a grunt. I just need my gear back. So he gives the gun. She gives the gun back to him, and he opens up that cargo door for the little train box that they're in. And what was it that he screamed out? He was like, all right, we got the info or something like that. He said something to that effect. We got what we needed.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it's like they were just expecting it, and it's like, okay, so time to move on to stage 2 of whatever this plan is going to be.
Yeah, because in a quick cutscene, once you hear that he's talking to a group outside, that's where you see the other 3 with bags over their heads. And then you see those
N95 bags.
Yeah, and then you see the soldiers there, and then I guess they put a bag over her head, and then that's it. And there's the end of the episode. So
and I mentioned something that's really, really dumb, but made me giggle a little bit. Hopefully it makes it. Well, anyways, the dude, the bloody dude, the one with the armor. If you notice his gloves, or I don't know what you call that thing. Like, they had spikes, right? Mm-hmm. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
They resemble a lot of what Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what he has. And what's the name of this episode?
Splinter, yeah.
It's just something weird that I noticed, and I'm like, oh shit.
That could be intentional.
Yeah, and then the Splinter eventually came out during the whole altercation with the guy. She was like, oh, my Splinter came out. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it did?
Yeah, it popped out. Yeah, so it was interesting. It was interesting. I like the fact that she was getting her own little backstory, and they didn't go full Lost mode where it's just like taking us back to Pittsburgh, where she says she's from, and showing us scenes where her and the mom, a younger version of her with the mom and the stepdad. It was just her talking. But I don't think Yumiko was ever there in the car next to her. I think that was just her just trying to deal with it, her situation, which is why she was reading off the capitals, just doing that whole bit. And then with manifesting Ezekiel just popping in there, that was just in her head also hoping that somebody would come save her. And she already knows that Eugene is in that other car just locked up, and in her mind Yumiko is in the other car or getting treatment because she's really banged up. So I guess the only other person would be Ezekiel. Now I don't think she knows that Ezekiel has cancer. So so in her mind he is running around and able to do these type of things.
It just really depends on when she sort of lost sense of reality. Was it at the very beginning when she got beat up, and then Yumiko got beat up that time, or was it during when she got the actual splinter itself? Could maybe that's infected or something? I don't know. Or it could have been when she got hit in the jaw by that dude and triggered back all the trauma from her past. Mm-hmm. It just really depends on when exactly she did lose that sense of reality. And I don't know if it was made clear. I might need to rewatch the episode to see, but to me, it wasn't as clear as it could be, and maybe that's something that we need to figure out later on in the
Yep.
season.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see where they go with this, because now that was it. That was the episode. So now we can just speculate on what's gonna happen from here on. Because when it comes to Princess in the comics, in this part, she does develop a relationship with one of these soldiers, and it's one of the soldiers that she had a little fight with. And I wonder if it's gonna be this guy. In the comic, it was the captain. He was the boss, and I don't know. Maybe this guy was BSing when he said he was a new recruit and this whole thing. But he looked kind of young. He looked young, you know. And then it was funny that
he said he was a grunt.
Yeah, he said he was a grunt, and that came up a bunch of times when they were asking her age. She's like, I don't know, 28, 29, 50, who knows? I lost count, and I was thinking about that. I was like, you know what? Yeah, in that type of situation, who celebrates birthdays? Who's keeping track of the dates, weeks, months, years?
She's like 20. Yeah, it could be 28, 29, 30 for all. I don't know. Under this pandemic, who the hell knows? And I'm like, I hear you, sister. I hear you.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know. Who cares? And so it's going to be interesting because at this point, this segment here, Eugene is part of the group, but Michonne is not part of it. And the comic, that was a big part. And it was key to mention that because she's a lawyer in her past, in her previous, well, I want to say previous life, but you know, before the world went to shit, she was an attorney, and that plays a big part going forward. So, Yumiko is an attorney, and so I'm assuming that Yumiko will be playing all those roles if they continue on with the dialogue and with the comic, which Walking Dead proper, yeah, this show has thrown in bits and pieces of curveballs here and there, like Daryl and all that stuff. But for the most part, they're sticking with the comic. You know, for the overarch storyline, they're sticking with it. So it's the fact that Michonne's not there, but Yumiko just also happens to also be an attorney. I have a feeling that's going to be a big part. But it's going to be cool to see what happens. Now we have 2 more episodes, right? So if there's 2 more of these mini-sodes, whatever we want to call them, now that we've already seen this, I mean, where do we go? Do they continue this? I don't think so. I don't see them continuing on with this arc with Princess and the crew. You gonna say something, Rich?
Yeah, I think this is it for Princess and the crew, and the next time you'll see them is the premiere of season 11.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this is because it was revealed what the last couple of episodes are going to be as far as the character focus. The next episode, I think, is about Carol and Daryl once again, and then the last episode is a Negan origin story.
Oh yeah, that's right, the Negan origin story.
Yeah,
that should be interesting.
I just like how Rich said the princess and the crew. I'm like, what? I thought it was gonna say Princess and the Frog.
Right, there we go. I like Princess. Princess, she's a cool girl. She reminds me of a bunch of people that I knew. I knew a lot of girls like that. Yeah.
And when she said that she was from Pittsburgh, I'm like, what? Really?
Yeah, no, that's bullshit.
That's the most unbelievable part.
She's from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And I think in real life, she's actually from the Bronx too. Like I saw an interview with her and she was talking about it. So, you know, she very much sounds just like how she sounds on this show. I was like, oh, there you go. All right. But no, all right. So overall, it was all right. It was very short. It felt so short. This felt very short. But hey, it is what it is. We got a little backstory on Princess. So, people, that was it. It was short. Thanks again for tuning in and downloading and listening. And again, thanks for supporting us on Spotify and on iTunes and on YouTube or wherever else you go. You know, this is the I Am Negan show, and I was your host, Adam. I was joined by Rich and Carlos, and we will be back for episode 21 of The Walking Dead. So, thanks again, and we will see you then. Peace.
Later, people.
Later, people.